Hey everyone, this is Miko from the Permit Empire, and I am going live tonight. I wanted to jump in here and make a quick live. Um, as you can see from the title, I'm talking a little bit more about permit preparation. And the reason I wanted to get in here and talk a little bit more about permit preparation is because of a question that I received from my last live where I was discussing permit preparation. And it was a really good question. So I did, I believe I may have even answered that person's question to them. I'm pretty sure I did, but I wanted to continue with the conversation a little bit more about permit preparation because um, there's definitely questions. So I wanted to jump in here and do a live. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for tuning into this video. If you're catching it live, I want to let you know that I really do appreciate you for stopping on in here. If you are catching it on the replay, also thank you so much for your time. I understand everyone's time is very important, and I don't take that lightly, and I don't take it for granted that you're choosing to spend some of that time with me. So, like I said, I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the permit preparation because I showed on my other video where I talked about preparation. I guess the part one of this video, right? I talked about permit preparation as it pertains to fencing. Doing a installation of a fence at a property. So I talked about it from that standpoint. I believe I still have a copy of the survey over here. I don't see it right now, but I was talking about it from a standpoint of installing a fence at a property, right? So I was showing that for this installation, you need a copy of a survey. And on that survey, you're going to mark the location that the new proposed fence will be installed. That's what you're going to do. You're going to mark it up on this survey, right? And I discussed that. I actually showed it. I had a copy of it, of one that I was going to have for submission for a permit. So I showed that survey, and I kind of just showed where I drew some arrows showing that this is going to be the location of the fence for this permit, right? So here is what I wanted to talk a little bit about for this section, I guess, or this session of permit preparation. So what I wanted to talk about is I want to continue with the conversation of when you're dealing with engineers or engineer drawings and you're dealing with surveys, right? So when you're dealing with those type of things, the question came up as to are we allowed, for the most part, the questions, I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, are we allowed to make adjustments to a form that has been prepared by a survey company or an engineer? And I feel like this was a really good question because I did show that I did make some adjustments by showing where the fence was going to be located. But here's the thing with that, right? Because I deal with engineers a lot. And of course, with engineers, you cannot make any changes to what they have already put there. It is what it is once they have put what they're putting on this form. Once they put their measurements, once they're showing the structure, it is what it is, right? You can't change that. That's the same when it comes to surveys. We do not actually do the measurements for the surveys. We don't do that. The survey team, they do that. So whatever the when they come out and they do their survey of the property, they are the ones who are actually giving those final measurements, the sizes. They're showing where the structure is located on the property. They're giving the streets that it's located near. They're doing all of that on that survey, but that is done by the survey team. The only thing that you can do, because in a lot of cases, let's say you're doing a fence, and I'm going to stick to doing a fence, right? Because that's for the most part when you may need a survey. When you're doing fences and when you're doing like driveways, you may need a survey. You may not only need a survey, but you may need to mark on that survey, where you're putting that new driveway or where you're putting that fence. So you're not making the adjustments. You're in a lot of cases taking a copy of that survey, or you may even have a certified copy of that survey. You may have a copy of that survey and you're just showing this is where the fence is going to be installed. This is where it's proposed to be installed. Now, the building department, the plan reviewers, they take that and they use that information because they know what the surveyor has put here. Those measurements can't be changed by you as just an individual. This is really what it is. This is what's on the county records. What the surveyor has here, that's what shows up on the county records for that property. That's generally what it is. What's that survey is showing. That's pretty much what they have also on file or on record with the building department and with the county. The county keeps records, of your property. That's usually what's on file. So you cannot make any adjustments to, hey, this is the lot size or this is the property size. All you can do, you're using that to just show the actual place, the real place that this fence will be installed and how much how much of the line or where if it's going into an easement different, that you're only sure like if it's on the property line, if you've installed this and it's now on your property, on your neighbor's property, they have the right, because their survey shows that you're now over the property line. They have a right to actually tear it down. It's in their property, it's on their yard. They don't have to have it there. So this survey shows exactly that you are utilizing the space that you truly do have, and you're not encroaching on the utilities department spaces, because in a lot of cases the utility department may actually have a space on your property where they need to have access at all times. So there's quite a few things that that survey shows, and that's a lot of cases why the building department may want to see the survey, because those details, they're accurate, they're true. That is what it is. Those surveyors are not biased. They go out and they do a complete survey of your property, and all you can do at this point now, you're utilizing that to show the building department exactly, hey, we're basing it off the guidelines already set. This is the way this property is, and we're just making sure that that fence is according to the guidelines, according to the standards that are already set in place. So that's why you would need a survey in a lot of cases, because they're making sure that you're on your property. All of this that you're doing, this is work that you're going to be doing on your actual property and not your neighbors. Hey, Shanta, nice to see you in here. But yeah, so that's why they need a survey in a lot of cases. They're just trying to make sure, hey, you are really, installing this on your property. So that's why you need a survey. So you're not actually making any adjustments to the survey, what the county has on record. You're not making any adjustments to that survey. You are literally just showing that, hey, I'm going according to the guidelines set in place. So that's why the survey is needed in a lot of cases when you're doing a driveway or when you're doing a fence. When it comes to driveways, now here's the thing with even driveways, again, the utility department, they may actually have a space on that property where they need to utilize at all times. So they want to make sure you're not encroaching on that space. So that's also why they need a survey, because on the surveys, a lot of times it'll show like utility boxes. It'll show like the water meter. It'll have all of that information. So that's why they use that in a lot of cases too. So when it comes to like engineering though, because the engineer in a lot of cases, a lot of the permits that I do, I am dealing with an engineer. They are the ones who are making that floor plan, getting all the details, showing how this structure will actually be built. A lot of times it's them who are doing that. They're actually doing that. So we definitely cannot go behind an engineer and say, hey, we're making changes. We're making changes. And in a lot of cases, if you do that with an engineer, the building department will reject the plans. If you write on something that an engineer has stamped, he's sealed, even if it's digitally signed and sealed, they will reject it, because now they're going to look at it as you have to go back to that engineer and get a new set of plans. You can't just write on an engineer plan. You can't, they won't allow that at all. What that engineer says is final. What I do when I'm dealing with engineers, a lot of times, I will actually talk to them about how this plan is structured. Let's take here in South Florida, there are a lot of sunrooms. We do a lot of sunrooms. And that's pretty much the patio area or the balcony area of a property. A lot of times people will, because they can't necessarily enclose it legally, or they don't want to go through and like totally enclose it and make it into a new room, what they'll do is they'll make it into a room that is enclosed by windows or glass. That's what they'll do, and they call it a sunroom. So it can still be kind of utilized as a patio, but it's enclosed, so you don't have to deal with the elements as much. It kind of becomes a part of the home, like the actual living space, right? So a lot of people do that. And in a lot of those cases, those projects need engineer drawings to do that. An engineer has to design that, or not necessarily design it. I'll work with the engineer. I'll give him like the plan. This is what the property owner, the contractor, this is what they propose to do. And what the engineer comes back and says is, okay, by law, these got by the guidelines set in place by the local building department, by the building codes, this is what will work. And they'll show like what kind of anchors needed or needed for this project, those different things. But when they put that plan together, we cannot go back over that plan and write on those plans. It's final. Now they will change it for you, but once an engineer stamps on something, that is final. Those drawings are final. Now, what I do in a lot of cases is sometimes I will have a floor plan. The county actually has a floor plan on file for a lot of the properties. So what I do, let's say I'm doing a project for just windows and doors. I'm not adding any square footage, none of that good stuff, right? I'm doing it just for windows and doors. Hey Sabrina, how you doing? So good to see you in here. But yes, so let's say I'm just doing it for that, which is considered basically just an alteration. I'm not doing an addition, none of that, right? It's just an alteration. Now, when I am doing that, I can make my own floor plan. I can draw the box, the outline of the home. I can literally draw it on a piece of paper and mark where each window is going to be installed. I can do that. I do not need an engineer for that. Now, if it's a condo on the beach or something like that, then yes, you're going to need some assistance from an engineer. But for the most part, if it's a single family home or even like a townhome, I can physically do an outline of that property and mark the locations that the windows will be installed. That is something I can do. I can change that. I can manipulate that. But as long as I stay within the guidelines of, okay, this house is like a box. Let's say it's a box. I can sketch out a box and just show exactly where each window is going to be installed. I can literally just exit off that box. This is window one. This is window two. This is window three. I can go around making those declarations. Basically, I can go around and show where each window that's going to be installed is located. That's something I can do. I don't need an engineer for that. That is something that I can do myself. And that's something that you can do yourself when it comes to document preparation. So I wanted to definitely address that a little bit because I don't want to leave it up in the air. I want to make sure that yes, you understand. In a lot of cases, you will be using or dealing with an engineer or survey team. And no, we cannot go back over what an engineer says. Cannot, right? But if it's something that's just okay, I'm just showing on the survey where something is to be installed. I'm just showing where. See, an engineer, they're going to actually show where it's going to be installed. They're going to show how it's being installed. They're going to show those details on those the engineer plans they're making. The survey team doesn't. The survey team just shows the property as it is right now. So you can go and show, okay, on this property line, this is where we're putting the new fence. That's what you can do. That's when you can write on something. You're not actually making any change. They're going to just show this is you just identifying where it's happening. The engineer, he already or she already identifies it on the plans. And then you yourself, if it's something simple, a simple alteration, you can make your own plans for that property. And that's what I do in a lot of cases because I do a lot of window and door permits. And so what I do is I charge an administrative fee to go ahead and prepare those permits. I get all of the wind load charts together. I get all of the product approvals together. I get all of those documents together into a package. Now that I also resell that as a package sometimes. Let's say the contractor says, I don't need anyone to run the permit for me, but they will pay me in a lot of cases just to put everything together for them. They'll pay me just to put it together for them. And then they'll take it and they'll run it or they'll upload it. They can do that as well. But they will pay you also for your expertise. If you have an understanding of, okay, this is how driveways go. This is like, I know that this is the way that driveways go, which is pretty simple. But a lot of times a contractor will pay you just alone for that service, just alone for the permit preparation service. So yes, I talk mostly about permit running, but definitely there is money to be made even in more of that administrative work too, such as permit preparation. You can make as much money doing permit preparation as you can for the actual permit run. So it's definitely something, if you know, especially once you get going in permit running, and you may notice that you start to take on more clients that are of the same type. And if you get an understanding of what it is they're doing, and that's another reason I always say, check out your local building department, get familiar with them. Because if you get a good understanding of what it is that they're doing, what it is that they're submitting, you'll be able to kind of mimic that until you get a real understanding of, okay, this is why we're doing this. This is why I need this. And now you can start packaging that yourself. And even if you don't do the permit run, you can start doing permit preparation packages for contractors. It's just another way to make some additional income for your service, for your business, right? And again, you're charging your administrative fees because you don't actually have to go out and do the labor portion. You're not actually going out to do the run. You may not even be uploading it, but you are putting things together. And in a lot of cases, yes, the contractor knows what job he's doing. He may not have time to put the paperwork together, so he'll get you to do that. Or in some cases, a lot of cases, right? Because like I said, I do a lot of window and door permits. A lot of the contractors, it's because things change so much with, you know, product approvals and things like that. They don't even really want to be bothered so much because it becomes a little bit of a hassle. They have to get this paperwork together. They have to make sure that this is up to date. And if that is something that you're looking into offering, that's something that you're going to be up to date with because you're going to be following it a little more closely than that contractor would. So yes, definitely it would be a good way for you to add additional income into your business by preparing permits. Even that, just that alone, like I said, preparing the permits alone, you'll be able to add additional income to your business with offering just that service. Okay. So, like I said, I wanted to jump in here and talk a little bit more about permit preparation services and about how you can utilize that to add additional income into your business. Of course, up front, you may not be as familiar with it. You may not have an understanding, but as you start doing more permit runs, you can add this onto your business and add this on as a service that you provide. Because again, you can make just as much money from doing preparation service in a lot of cases as you would doing the physical run, the actual service. Okay. But if you have any questions, I definitely would love to entertain those. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to this video. I want to thank those of you who are going to watch it on a replay. And I want to thank you for your time. Again, I understand that everyone's time is very valuable, and I don't take that lightly, and I don't take that for granted. So again, thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the chat. I will definitely do my best to get back to them and get an answer for you as much as I can. Okay, so everyone, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And until next time, I look forward to chit-chatting with you later.